Welcome in to this special at-home edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we have some news to get to on the quarterback front. Last night, the Seahawks traded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick, and they might already have his replacement lined up. According to Fox Sports NFL insider Jordan Schultz, he said this morning, sources, the Seahawks, after trading Geno Smith to the Raiders, have shifted their primary focus to Sam Darnold. He is their number one option, and there is mutual interest on his behalf as well. It is unlikely that Darnold returns to the Vikings, according to multiple sources. So this lines up with what we talked about last night on the channel, that Sam Darnold, according to Tom Pelissero, was the number one target for Seattle to be their next quarterback. And we've talked about Sam Darnold on this channel in the last several weeks. And the thing that I pointed to, folks, when it came to Sam Darnold, let's look at the financials for a second here, okay? Geno Smith goes to the Raiders for $40 to $45 million. That's the number that is being thrown out there. And Spotrac, in their quarterback value numbers on the market, has Sam Darnold valued at about $40 million. Now, he obviously could get more than that. He could get less than that. But that's what the consensus of what his value is the $40 million mark. So with that said, let's say that you go get Sam Darnold here. Well, when you compare the numbers of what Sam Darnold did compared to Geno Smith, his stats, he had a better season statistically speaking this past year, winning NFL Comeback Player of the Year, going 14-3 this past season with the Minnesota Vikings. He had a better season statistically than any season Geno Smith has had in his entire career. So what for Seattle this could unfold is you move on from Geno, you get him off the books, you get a third-round pick, you sign Sam Darnold for about the same amount of money, and you get a younger, cheaper, better quarterback. That's what could be lining up for Seattle here potentially if they go this route with Sam Darnold. It is far from a done deal by any stretch of the imagination. There is still a lot of time between now and when free agency begins on Monday, and this is moving quickly. There was a thought during the season, there was no way that the Minnesota Vikings were going to let Sam Darnold walk out that door. But then he didn't play great in those final two games against the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs, and they had J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings, that sentiment kind of changed, that Minnesota could not bring Sam Darnold back. So let's ask you guys, should the Seahawks sign Sam Darnold? Type Y for yes, in for no. Wait in the comment section, let us know what you think. I like the idea. I like the idea of Sam Darnold. What do you guys think? Weigh in, let us know. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seattle Seahawks Today. It's been a crazy week here on the channel, from DK putting in his trade request, Tyler Lockett getting released, and then Geno gets traded last night, and we're already moving towards finding his replacement. And we've been covering it all here on Seahawks Today. We did a live show for the DK and Tyler Lockett news earlier in the week. We did a live show last night. I came in on my off day, had friends in town, was eating dinner, said, I got to go. I got to head to the studio and bring a live show to the 12s, and we had a great time last night. And when we find out who this next quarterback is going to be, whether it's a Sam Darnold or somebody else, we'll bring you a video. We'll go live here on the channel. We'll be live for free agency next week on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so don't miss out on that. 12s, this is the place you got to be. You got to be subscribed. If you can just do me a solid as a thank you for bringing you this content, even on my off days like this, the easiest way you can thank us is by subscribing to the channel. Subscribe now for free. Let's get 50 subs off today's video. Make it happen. We certainly would appreciate it. So here's something that I think is very interesting when it comes to Sam Darnold, all right? A lot of people point to the struggles of this offensive line, and that is still priority number one for Seattle, is fixing the offensive line, who was just atrocious last year. And that's the top objective for John Sschneider and company, is to get this offensive line figured out, okay? That hasn't changed. But I would say one silver lining comparing Sam Darnold as opposed to Geno Smith, he was sacked 48 times last year. He had a bad offensive line in Minnesota. And yet, look at him compared to Geno Smith. Now, granted, all right, Sam Darnold got to play with one of, if not the best receivers in the league, and Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison was there. That offense had some incredible weapons. And Kevin O'Connell is one of the best offensive minds in football. But with that said, sacked 48 times and still had these statistics. All right, let me go over these numbers for you here. Completion percentage of over 66%, over 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, quarterback rating of 102.5, and on top of that, he rushed for 212 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So, you're looking at a better quarterback than Geno Smith, all right? Statistically speaking, in every major passing category. Better runner than Geno Smith as well. Geno's not known for having much of a running ability. I think this makes a ton of sense. Here is where I'm hesitant, though, with Sam Darnold. And we won't know this answer till we see it firsthand. Was 2024 a one-hit wonder? Was it a perfect storm where the stars aligned for Sam Darnold there in Minnesota? Because you had a great offensive scheme with KOC. You had all those weapons there. Did everything just happen to line up or it worked out for Sam Darnold? Is that going to stay? I don't know the answer to that question. And we've seen where teams have been burned by buying into the one-hit wonder in the past. The biggest example I can think of is the Houston Texans, all that money they gave Brock Osweiler after his season with the Denver Broncos. Now, Sam Darnold's a lot better quarterback than Brock Osweiler, but you get the idea. Teams have been burned by these situations before. Now, a success story I would point to would be Baker Mayfield, where Baker, of course, had his ebbs and flows through the start of his career and didn't go so well in Carolina, goes to the Rams and rejuvenated, had a strong second half of that season. The Bucs sign him, and they're not looking back. And they have one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Baker Mayfield. It worked out beautifully for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's an anomaly. That doesn't happen every time. Sam Darnold was in the same draft class as Baker Mayfield. I've always liked Sam Darnold. I liked him coming out of USC. I thought the Jets treated him poorly and did not put him in a position to succeed. I thought that he could still get the job done. And, Carolina, that obviously didn't work out. He goes to San Francisco to sit behind Brock Purdy, learns under Kyle Shanahan, and has really turned things around. So I am optimistic there could be some staying power here, but it is a big gamble. I don't think we can ignore that here, that it was 1 year. And I think that this version of Sam Darnold is here to last, but I don't know that for certain. And this is still a lot of money to be making that gamble potentially to say that, yes, we saw enough from that 1 year that we think this version is going to stay going forward from here. And it's not the Minnesota situation. You don't have the offensive weapons that the Minnesota Vikings did, especially if you move on from DK Metcalf and you got JSN there. You don't have Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson and those guys. Can Sam Darnold be that same version? That remains to be seen. But I will say, I like the idea, and I think that this could work. And Sam Darnold has the potential to be a franchise quarterback in this league. But only time will tell if that can all come together and if Sam Darnold can be the solution that Seattle is potentially looking for. The other thing I'll bring up too, some of y'all will say, well, why not draft a quarterback? Well, you're still picking at 18. That didn't change last night. And it doesn't seem like Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are likely going to be available at 18 unless you trade up. Now, Shedeur's stock is starting to fall a little bit. Maybe there's a situation where you could potentially trade up and get Shedeur Sanders if he happens to fall into your lap on draft day. but you're still banking on a few things falling in your direction. I'm not high on Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, for me, I don't see a gamer. I don't see a difference maker in Jackson Dart showing that ability to get the job done and be the reason why his team wins. He was never that at Ole Miss. He was a good quarterback. His statistics were good, but he never pushed his team over the top. And if you can't do that in college, if you can't be that difference maker in that sense, I don't think that's going to be that way in the National Football League, that things are going to change in that sense. So for Seattle here, a veteran quarterback, Sam Darnold, plenty of experience and still young, only 27 at this point in time. So you pay him that $40 to $45 million. If he plays at the level that he did last season, then that looks like a bargain in that $40 to $45 million range if he keeps up that play or even close to that play that he did last year. And you still have some more money to spend on other positions and building a team around Sam Darnold to put him in a spot to succeed. And JSN, of course, coming off a fantastic season. Add some more pieces there. You could still have a pretty decent offense here. And it's going to be a run-first offense that Clint is running here with K9 and with Zach Charbonnet. So you're not going to ask Sam Darnold to blow the world on fire. Now, he showed that ability that he can last year, but that's not what's going to be asked of him. So that is going to help Sam Darnold out in that sense of what you ask of him in this offense. So I'm very curious, who do you want to be the Seahawks' next starting quarterback in 2024, or 2025 rather? Give me a name that comes to mind that you'd like to see. Continuing Seahawks coverage, we are going to be all over this quarterback search here on the channel. Stay tuned. We got you covered each and every day. We'll be live for free agency Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. We'll see you then. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us.